Yo, 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 what's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there, Mrs Weedman?
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Fantastic.
I love it. Hey, all you vipers out there in the world, hope you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. Mrs Weedman and I are about to get normal with some Daze Off Picture Perfect, which is a hybrid of Florida oranges and rainbows. THC percentage around 25%. Don't really have much more information about this, but tell you a little bit about Daze Off, and I'd like to thank the homies for throwing us to the cause, as always. From Daze Off, they also are under the Arise umbrella here, a local craft grower here that's been around since like med days. So big vibes in small size. Get more bud for your buck. You'll never forget your first high. Every time you spark up good times and great memories, bubble up to the surface. Happiness comes to us most when we set aside time for ourselves and our loved ones. That's why the best memories are made on Daze Off.
Ah.
Spelled DAZEOFF. So thanks,
I like
homies.
Daze Off.
Yes, I love the homies from Daze Off. We've been to a bunch of their
Yes.
events. We appreciate you guys and gals that work for Daze Off and throwing to the cause. Looking forward to trying this. I got this jar like last Friday and from them, and I figured I'd wait for the show. So when we've smoked a couple of their strains on the show, so we appreciate you all. And they are some of the hardest working street crew I've ever met. Their events they throw is great. I think they're doing an event at Stash Dispensaries on the 24th, like a kind of like a Halloweenish party. So it's Stash Orland Hills. So check out Daze Off and their party out in Stash and go smoke some really good weed that they grow, and it's really nice. So, and Mrs. Weedman's going to tell you a little bit about 8decades.com. Tell us about it, Ms. Weedman.
Yes. If you don't know, then now you will. 8 Decades is our cannabis lifestyle brand that we started in the year 2020. The agenda behind the brand is to stomp the stigma, free the plant, and start the conversation. Our products are all developed to be out, not stashed, and to literally start the conversation so that we can all advocate for the plant that we love. So we created a beautiful rolling set for your flower consumption, a really nice rolling tray. It has kind of curved concave sides so that when you use our scoop, we have also a tool so that you're not picking up your flower. So if you scoop up your flower along those curved sides of the rolling tray, your flower doesn't fall off all over your table. And you can roll a nice joint with it. You could drop it into a bowl. There's a tamper on the other end. There's a interchangeable tool head, so then you can clean your bowl out. We have a beautiful ashtray. We have mirror and violet glass that's imported from the Netherlands, and that is biophonetic glass, and I might be botching up that word, but the glass has added minerals when they fire it, and it strengthens the glass, it fortifies the glass, but it also blocks out damaging sun rays. So you could have your cannabis out in daylight and it will not degrade your product that's inside the jar. So they're great. They're odor-proof. They are strong and they're reusable. So it's a great way to store your cannabis and cannabis products, and lots of other things. Great hemp clothing, and of course, we have Weedman 420 Chronicles swag. So head on over and check us out. Grab something and we'll send it your way. We got some good stuff on there.
Yeah,
check it
thanks
out.
for the few people that just bought this week. We appreciate you. We love you. And as we always say, if you support 8decades.com, you support this show so we can keep on bringing you the latest news and weekly science and health and all that stuff. So by supporting 8decades.com, we love you out there. We appreciate you as you do it. Thank you all, everybody out there. And I use the tray set all the time. And I have a couple of them. So if you get one, tell us about it. Give us a little feedback on what you think. If you bought a tray set, jar set, steamroller. We get a lot of people that buy the steamrollers, and we get a lot of people telling us how much they love the steamroller. And I think Mrs. Weedman's going to throw a 20% off on there. So check out the website. There might be a 20% off sale going on for Halloween.
Maybe.
For Halloween weekend and then going into the holidays. So check out 8decades.com for your 20% off also. So we appreciate y'all out there for supporting us, and we love y'all. So it is officially done. The beautiful weather we've had here in Chicago as of Sunday, because Monday when we woke up, it rained and it was cool and it was, oh no, Summer's officially over now because we were sitting in the nice 70s all last week too. So, and yeah, but this time of the year, right when we all enjoy the fall, right? Halloween's coming up, the fall weather, leaves start changing. But there's the one thing that we all know that comes out could be from the little gourds all the way to the 500-pound pumpkins that I've seen.
Oh.
And it's a favorite sign of fall for people. The pumpkin, you see them all over the place, all different sizes, all different shapes, all different. Every pumpkin gets a home, right?
Mhm.
But there's a shady history to pumpkins that I didn't know about. So, pumpkins are the bookends of autumn, right? Headlines about the arrival of pumpkin spice lattes and everything is pumpkin flavored everything signals the end of summer. Soon after the last bites of your pumpkin pie at the Thanksgiving table, we turn our plans for what? The winter holidays.
Yeah.
In between jack-o'-lanterns are the stars of Halloween. The seasonal gourds also invoke a romanticized ideal of simpler times, according to Cindy Ott, author of Pumpkin, The Curious History of an American Icon. Pumpkins are more popular than ever. An associate professor of history in the University of Delaware tells NPR. People are buying these things, even pumpkin spice lattes, because of these attachments. These very old-fashioned ideas about reverence of small family farm. As her comment suggests, it wasn't always like this. Like gourd growing on the rambling vine, pumpkin took quite of a curious path before it achieved PSL ubiquity. For the installment of the word of the week, we follow the path. Where did the word pumpkin come from? The word pumpkin has long referred to more of an idea than to a specific plant.
Hmm.
Pumpkin itself isn't exactly a botanical group, says Logan Kistler, creator of the Anthropobotany and Anthrogenomics of the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. It's more describing the shape of any kind of squash that people have bred to look like what we think of as pumpkins. The word pumpkin itself began with the Greek word pipon and evolved into the French pompon, according to Fiona McPherson, executive editor for the Oxford English Dictionary. Pumpkins, she says, is a variant of pompion, an English word dating back to the 1500s. While the word's roots are often linked to Europe, the plant's roots are firmly in the Americas, with thousands of years of history. The first example that we have of pumpkin is from 1647, apparently with reference to the poor diet of early settlers in the New World. When European settlers reached the present-day Americas, they encountered indigenous people growing pumpkins, a useful source of food that's easy to grow and can be stored in cold weather. Pumpkin was often used as a general term, similar to how the word corn once referred to any grain rather than to specific foodstuff, Ott says. Pumpkins are part of the genus Cucurbita, according to Kistler, who says the plants were farmed throughout North, Central, and South America in pre-colonial times. Indigenous people in the Americas domesticated different types of these sorts of pumpkin precursors at least 6 different times. So, what we recognize as pumpkins originating all throughout the Americas going back to far as about 10,000 years in Mexico. Several of those species are easily found today, whether being weighed at a state fair or canned for baking. Why other plant names have persisted since then, McPherson says, pumpkin is the word obviously that has taken over. So, Mr. Weedman, who are you calling a pumpkin? Shortly after the word was first used in English, pumpkin became a way to throw shade. The most interesting part of calling people pumpkins is it's been so consistent, Ott says, citing paintings and stories dating back centuries. For women, it's often associated with their body. Pumpkin imagery was used to suggest that women are driven by her natural urges, instead of being cerebral and mannerly, Ott says, and for the man, it's always been associated with his head, like an empty-headed person. It's used for politicians for hundreds of years.
Hmm.
For
I
McPherson,
didn't
the
know that.
speed with which the word pumpkin became an insult is striking. It really did not take long for it to develop this figurative use, she says, adding by 1680, pumpkin was applied contemptuously to a person who's a bit conceited or self-important or stupid. I always call it like heard people call pumpkin like, "Hey, pumpkin, how you doing?" Like,
Oh, like cute little pumpkin. Hey,
right,
pumpkin.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
you
never
know,
heard it like referring to adults. Or
not being
this is
called.
all a lot of new news to me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. NPR coming
pumpkin,
strong. Don't call me stupid.
pumpkin.
A gourd becomes a symbol for romanticized past. Now, gourds come in all different shape and sizes, right?
Mhm.
So by the 19th century, Odd says the rehabilitation of the word pumpkin in language was underway. For one thing, it
The
became a term
rehabilitation.
of endearment to call kids pumpkins, she says, right?
Yeah.
And around the same time, the pumpkin became a symbol of old fashioned ways of living. A touchstone in poems and genre paintings of urbanization took hold in the United States. So Americans move out of the country into the city, but they like to imagine themselves as farmers at heart, many of them, Ott says.
Hmm.
And a pumpkin has been a way to maintain those connections.
Hmm.
So that when the pumpkin became the pumpkin, it's cultural history and not botanical one. Today, the history includes a twist. Descendants of the same pumpkin that once sustained indigenous civilizations and early settlers are now supporting modern small scale farmers, Ott says, tapping into the nostalgia for the arraying past. Farmers are putting pumpkins front and center as they turn their farms into what Ott calls an agrarian wonderlands to draw visitors. The cool thing about the story is, she says, is that these very romantic ideas and myths that a lot of Americans tell themselves about the origins stories are actually helping to rejuvenate the very thing it represents: a small family farm. Now, I've saw some videos of pumpkins lately, and you all are out there fucking going crazy with your pumpkins lately. I've seen some monsters
Mhm.
pumpkins, 500 pounders, like just
Mhm. I heard they have to like get the plant and then cut off all the other any other flower that's on the stem so that they can push all the energy out to that one
all
stem.
the good stuff, all
And
the
then they just
juice.
like fertilize the shit out of it until it just beefs up.
We had our friend Alabrije on, and he was talking about growing pumpkins, and he got a couple 100 pounder, he was saying,
Oh,
and but a friend of
wow.
his got something like a 300 or 400 pounder.
Dang.
Yeah, taking that to the
Hmm.
state fair and winning.
I just saw on the news today that there is a current trend happening in the Midwest, Chicago ish suburbs, pumpkin stealing. Everyone's stealing people's
Come
pumpkins.
on, you don't do that till
Yeah, there was
Halloween.
an old man. He stole the lady's pumpkins, and then the next day he brought them back because I think she said something like on social media. And the next day he gets caught on her doorbell camera, and he puts two, not even the same pumpkins. He puts two new pumpkins on the middle of her front lawn, and says sorry.
The only
Gets
time you
back in
ever
his
is supposed
car.
to steal
Like, why are you
something,
stealing
the
pumpkins?
only time you steal a pumpkin is on
Pumpkin,
Halloween night.
jack o' lantern.
You steal the jack-o'-lantern and you walk around the streets
Kids
with them.
smash them,
Right, but that was the tradition, but that was like,
right? But they're like
but
all
it's the
mush
last
at the
night.
end of the
Yeah, by
night
the time
after the
it's
like,
the it's no, you don't need
candle
them
has
the
like
next day.
heated
They're
the
gonna get thrown
inside.
out on November 1st,
Right,
so you just
squirrels have chewed them up.
right. So you just go and you have fun with them, you throw them around and you smash them, and that's what people did, but you don't steal someone's pumpkin now,
Yeah, isn't that weird?
filthy old man.
He is a pumpkin.
No, he's the stupid pumpkin. What is one thing, though, the one thing that kind of brings me back to my childhood is to pumpkins is
Carving.
that, but one of my favorite cartoons of all time,
Oh, Charlie
The Great
Brown.
Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, that should be on pretty soon. We missed it
We
probably.
probably missed it, but we could probably watch it on
Yeah.
YouTube or
Yeah.
something, because now it's only on Apple. Oh, we do have Apple TV. Thanks,
Yeah.
Polly. So we will be watching The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I mean, I loved all the Halloween cartoons. There were some really good creepy ones too.
Mhm.
So last week we talked about scary dolls. Mine was The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. There was also the Disney. There's so many different ones. Ah, man, I wish I should have took some notes and put down some different
Mine
cartoons
was like
for people
Friday
to
the
watch.
13th and Halloween.
Yeah, but I'm talking about cartoons. There were so many
Cartoons?
good Halloween cartoons, some freaky ones, some scary ones, some just fun ones to watch. Maybe
Mm.
next week I'll come up with a list so people can watch them on Halloween. So, but yeah, but The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. You were always a really good pumpkin carver though with the kids. You had some skills there.
I tried.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know. I go on social media and I'm just blown away at shit that people do these days.
Oh, I
I
know.
was very creative.
Yes.
I
Our
was
pumpkin bond was
I was
very creative too.
crafty,
Very.
dare I say.
She crafty.
I was kinda like, I grew up with Martha Stewart. I,
You
like,
did.
mommed with Martha Stewart,
You
so
did.
I like to do shit like that.
You did some great
But
stuff.
now I see these people on social media, I'm like, "What? How did they get that idea?" I feel like I lost that edge.
I am a
I
terrible
gotta get
pumpkin
back to it.
carver. Terrible. I would never. I tried with my dad. Did a terrible job. So my dad just would always take over.
Mhm.
I didn't mind cleaning them because that was the only thing I was actually good at, and get my hands kind of dirty with a glove or something. But I think I tried one time, and you're like, "What are you doing? You totally destroyed that pumpkin." And I don't think I've have carved a pumpkin since. It's probably been like 25 years or 26 years since the last time I carved a pumpkin.
Maybe you need some pumpkin carving therapy.
No, I'm terrible at it.
Did I traumatize
No,
you
not
so
at
you'll
all.
never touch
Not
one
at all.
again?
No, I know I'm not
I'm
good
gonna go
at
buy 2 pumpkins.
it, but you're gonna carve them.
You'll carve one, and I'll
No, I
carve
won't.
one.
It just, I can't even use a fucking ruler, let alone
You don't
trying
need
to
a
measure.
ruler.
But you have to measure your
Heck no,
lines
you
and
do
stuff
not.
and try
No,
to
you don't.
get the knife in there good enough.
No, you don't.
I'm terrible
That's
at it.
excuses.
It's not excuses.
You do not have to do
I will
crazy
not
stuff
carve a
like
pumpkin
that.
and ruin it.
Ugh.
It'll have a fucking disfigured face. Be like one of those
Well,
pumpkins with like no teeth.
that'd be good. It's Halloween. That's what it's all about.
No, thank you.
That would be fine.
Yeah, but you have to have a tooth.
No, you don't.
A tooth.
Okay,
A tooth.
it's 2025. Do you not know that things can be just
You need a
whatever
tooth.
they are?
Pumpkin needs a tooth.
It could just be
Needs
whatever.
one
It
tooth.
could be whatever. You could just cut one big circle out of the front and say that's a face, and
Yeah,
it would be
sure.
a face. 'Cause,
Great. Terrible.
that's the
Be
way
like
things
Charlie
go.
Brown when he cut his costume, when he put 100 holes in his ghost
Mhm.
costume. I'd be like the same thing. I have 100 holes in my pumpkin.
Not creative.
At all. At
No.
all. Not. I don't have a creative bone in my body. I'm sorry. It's terrible.
Well, you do.
I create
not
this
an-
show every
not-
week, but
yeah.
this is something different than I am not an artist at all. I have not.
Artist.
Artiste. I have not. See, I can't even say it right. So you know,
Artist.
yeah, I have no artistic bone in my body at all.
That's okay.
I can stick figure draw. And
You got
that's
a
it.
lot of other good
Of
qualities.
course,
that
100%.
make-
Not everybody
yeah.
is artistic.
That's okay.
Artiste.
Artiste.
You know.
I'm not even an artiste.
Yeah, but you can draw. You have some skills. You have some skills. I can barely see colors. Not a very good color either. I was terrible at it too. I always thought I'd try to do well. I think I got F's in coloring in kindergarten.
Just
Terrible.
F's on coloring. Like that was a report card. Like
it was.
you had to learn how to color.
Oh gosh. You ready to get the show started?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Can genes predict cannabis use and who's at higher risk of problems? This new study says. Now, this was a couple different articles, but High Times and a bunch of others, stuff like that, put this out. So kind of summarized it all into one little vibe here. So we're unpacking a new study in molecular psychiatry that asks, can your genes predict whether you'll use cannabis and possibly be at greater risk for problems? Buckle up. We got wisdom coming in. Researchers at the UC San Diego teamed up with 23andMe to analyze DNA from 131,895 folks, asking 2 key questions. Have you ever used weed? And if yes, how often? They also followed frequencies in 73,374. They found tiny genetic signals in brain pathway systems, like wiring of neurons and glutamate system. These signals were linked to trying cannabis and a little bit more frequent use. The magnitude. But here's the deal. The effect size. It's small. The heritability estimates are modest. The study's own authors are clear. There's no signal weed gene. Being more genetically inclined doesn't lock your fate. Environment, access, stress, family. Those heavy hitters still rule. What the research does give us is a roadmap. How brain systems evolved in impulsivity, risk-taking, schizophrenia, adjacent pathways line up with the cannabis use patterns, not destiny. So what does this all mean? So listen up. This is super important. This is not a screening tool. You can't get a yes, you'll have issues test from your DNA yet. It doesn't mean the path is pre-written. The study states that environment and personal choices still carry most of the weight. We are far from using this in the clinic. The authors note its foundation work one day maybe it informs prevention or treatment, but that day ain't here yet. What to take away, and here's the bottom line for your high vibe. Your genes may nudge you toward trying cannabis or using more often, but they don't pull you in alone. Use plus frequencies can possibly equal addiction. Bigger mix of factors matter: social setting, mental health background, access, and regulation. If you're working with clients, patients, or younger folks, talk about all the influences, not just is my gene bad. And for your session avaliers, keep your awareness high. Knowing your tendencies helps. You can walk in light rather than stumble in the dark. So here's my final puff. So, yeah, the study lights a small part of the map. It's like turning on one lamp in the big green forest of why we use weed and who might struggle. It's not the whole forest, but it's illuminating a path. In other words, genes may whisper, but life still shouts. Pretty good for some studies. Probably more research is going to need to be done, but it's interesting, right?
I feel very creative right now. And I
Really?
kind of feel like I need to go write something down. But I'll remember it.
But
I'll
you got to
remember
go, and then I'll give you
It's okay.
I'll give you my notebook, and you can write in it. My
It's
handy
okay.
dandy notebook. So, can this cannabinoid drug treat wasting syndrome in cancer patients? Tell us about it, Miss Weedman.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
That is you.
All right. A dual cannabinoid agonist drug candidate is being investigated for its potential in treating wasting syndrome in cancer patients. It demonstrated a weight gain in patients who took the drug versus a weight decrease in those who took a placebo. Chief investigator Barry Laird, professor of palliative medicine at Oslo University Hospital, recently presented the results at the 8th Cancer Cachexia Society conference last September in Turin, Italy. It marked the first public presentation of data from its phase 2 cancer appetite recovery study, evaluating the drug ART27.13 in patients with cancer anorexia cachexia syndrome, or CACS. The data was presented by Radium Hospital and University of Oslo. A particularly hallmark effect of cannabis is the munchies, as cannabinoids act upon the region in the brain that is linked to an increased appetite. In many states, qualifying conditions such as cancer and the effects of chemotherapy raise a need for an increased appetite in many patients. The drug selectivity targets peripheral CB1 and CB2 receptors, and researchers believe it has the potential to improve body weight, appetite, muscle degeneration, and the quality of life in cancer patients. The drug is being developed by Artello Biosciences, a clinical stage pharmaceutical company currently focused on modulating lipid signaling pathways in the brain. They plan to develop treatments for people living with cancer, pain, dermatologic, and other neurological conditions. Most of us have unfortunately experienced seeing someone we love or know deteriorate physically through the effects of cancer. Most of us would understand that rapid weight loss and muscle wasting are bad prognostic markers for those with cancer, and most people have heard of the munchies experienced by cannabis users. An Artello representative told Forbes in an email statement. The simple explanation of our trial data is that patients who took the ART27.13 gained on average 6% in weight, and those taking a capsule with nothing in it lost about 5% weight. We showed that the weight they put on was lean, which is likely to be muscle. We also learned that ART27.13 was well tolerated and no one reported feeling high or stoned. And we learned that patients on ART27.13 improved their activity over 3 months over patients taking the placebo. Researchers said that they specifically tested for the drug's lack of psychoactive effects. These improvements in lean body mass aligned with total weight gains, suggesting that muscle mass was preserved, consistent with earlier research. That's huge.
Yeah.
It's one thing to just lose weight. Some might be like, oh, maybe that's really like a bonus to chemo if there's anything good out of it. But you're not just losing weight, you're
Right.
losing muscle mass. And that's really bad because then you lose bone density and then you become frail and weak. So it is really important to be able to maintain some muscle
Yeah, absolutely.
through your health challenges. So, participants wore digital wearable data to confirm the numbers among treated patients versus those on the placebo. The drug continued to exhibit a favorable safety profile, with adverse events mostly mild to moderate, and no serious drug related events were reported. We were able to show those effects because we designed ART 27.13 to mimic cannabis, but we stopped it from getting into the brain, so people can't get high or stoned from it, the representative said. That means we can introduce the munchies by just switching on the cannabinoid receptors in the body. That is insane.
Crazy.
Artello and the wider clinical and scientific community are clearly enthusiastic about this data and its potential offering of a treatment option, which currently isn't available to help restore a cancer patient and their caretakers' quality of life and have the physical health to take cancer treatments such as chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and surgery that may also benefit them but wouldn't be possible in anorexic or cachexia patients. Given this positive data, we have the urgency and need to approve a therapy like this. Artello is currently finalizing options for future development of ART 27.13 and is advancing partnership discussions with pharmaceutical companies to support funding, scale up, and commercialization, the representative said. These interim findings provide strong evidence that ART 27.13 can help address the profound weight and activity loss experienced by patients with cancer anorexia cachexia syndrome. Artello Chief Medical Officer Stephen D. Reich said in the announcement. With ART 27.13, we are seeing consistent improvements not just in weight, but also in lean body mass and activity, outcomes that are highly meaningful to patients' daily lives. The company is also developing similar drugs. ART 26.12 is currently in phase 1 of clinical trials, and that will be a it's for chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy. And AR12.11 will be created to improve CBD formulations. Early efforts to legalize medical cannabis at the state level in California were driven in part to the use of cannabis to treat wasting syndrome. San Francisco-based Mary Jane Rathbun, also known as Brownie Mary, who is best known for delivering cannabis-infused edibles to people living with cancer, chemotherapy, and HIV and AIDS, contributed to California's Prop 215 and San Francisco's Prop P, and she also helped open the first licensed medical dispensary in the U.S. Rathbun died in 1999. The use of cannabis-based drugs to treat wasting syndrome presents a common-sense approach to medical cannabis research. Artello is moving forward with phase 2 portion of their trial to study the drug as a supportive care therapy for cancer patients suffering from anorexia and weight loss. Currently, there is no FDA-approved treatment for cancer-related wasting syndrome. So I think that sounds amazingly
Promising.
yes,
Awesome.
optimistic.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's great stuff.
Yeah.
I love it. Love to hear it. Good job, Mrs Weedman.
Thanks.
We've talked about gas station weed a few times. I've seen gas station weed. I wouldn't touch gas station weed, but this is a good article. Gas station weed is in cannabis. The hidden dangers of synthetic high by Senior Savvy Cannabis. It's a really good article. What's really in those flashy THC vapes and gummies, and why older adults should stay clear of gas station cannabis. Picture this. You're cruising late night. You pop into a gas station for some snacks. You see those flashy gummies or vapes behind the counter. High potency, get lifted. You buy one, you think, hey, it's cannabis, right? But hold up. What if I told you that those options might not be the same cannabis you know and trust? That's the call we're making today. Here's the deal. The article explains that there are 2 different tracks in the weed world right now. The regulated, tested cannabis we get from licensed dispensaries versus unregulated, gas station-style hemp-derived stuff. Legal cannabis, adult use or medical, is subject to rigorous testing, age limits, packaging rules, and some states have potency caps. The gas station weed gang, hemp-derived cannabinoids, think Delta 8, Delta 10, some THCA, some THCO, THCP, HHC, minimal oversight, big potency numbers, flashy packaging. This article points out there's a loophole. Under the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp, defined as 0.3% Delta 9 THC pre-processing, is legal. But chemists have found ways to convert or create very potent cannabinoids that don't fall nearly into the marijuana bucket. Okay, so you might be asking, Weedman, why should I care? Here's why. Take it from Mr. Weedman and listen good. Those gas station hemp products often aren't tested for heavy metals, solvents, unknown cannabinoids, or synthetic additives. Regulators in states like Massachusetts are finding these products with artificially elevated levels of THC and even unknown synthetics. The packaging sometimes looks like candy. Gummies with 500 milligrams of THC per piece have been found. Compare that to the regulated dispensary edibles, which might cap at 10 milligrams or less. Huge difference. Public health risk. Gas station weed is more accessible, less regulated, and often aimed at youth or impulse buyers. This article warns of the supply chain being opaque, the potency unknown, and the oversight thin. We got more layers, too. The regulated cannabis world bears heavy regulatory burdens, seed-to-sale tracking, stringent lab testing, age verifications, child-resistant packaging. Meanwhile, these hemp-derived products often bypass those burdens. That means two things. Licensed dispensaries pay taxes, incur costs, follow rules, while these gas station options might sidestep much of that. The article highlights the state treasuries lose out. Regulated market operators feel the squeeze. On the policy side, there are bills aimed at closing the loopholes, redefining hemp, restricting sale of intoxicating hemp to licensed channels. Congress and states are starting to push. We got to keep this real. The article also says not every hemp-derived product is necessarily bad, but the risk is elevated because of the lack of oversight. Consumers often don't know what they're getting. Mislabeled potency, unknown compounds. One lab found synthetics, heavy metals, etc. in unsupervised products. The regulatory fight is ongoing. Some states are banning Delta 8 and Delta 10 or restricting hemp-derived THC until it's regulated like cannabis. But the landscape is patchy. So fam, here's how I'm seeing it. You love your herb. You trust your spot. You know your product. This article is a reminder. Just because something says THC or cannabis at a gas station doesn't mean it's equal to your dispensary, home grow, or legacy grower, flower, or edibles. Always check for lab results, check branding, ask questions. If the packaging is flashy like candy, if the potency is sky high, and you see no batch testing or transparency, caution signs come up. If you're older, new to the scene, or sharing with younger folks, the stakes might be higher. This article emphasizes that youth access and misbranding are real concerns. If you decide to go the hemp-derived route, treat it like you treat any cannabis products. Start low, go slow, know your source, but ideally, lean toward regulated offerings when possible. And finally, the entire dynamic shows why legalization plus regulation matters. It's not just about getting high. It's about safety, transparency, and fairness. But here's Mr. Weedman's final puff. So here you have it. Gas station weed might look like the real thing, but under the hood, different beast. The article from Senior Savvy Cannabis calls out the risk, the loopholes, the policy drama, and gives you, our session crew, a heads up. Protect your vibe, protect your health, and keep your sessions one step above the guesswork. Good article.
Mm-hmm.
Some great information, some great knowledge there. Gas station weed. It's like getting a gas station burrito that's been
Hot
sitting there
dog,
for like hot dogs have been sitting there for like 12 hours.
Oof.
And if you want to poop really good, Go
Do
get one of
that.
those. Or really bad. Depends.
How you look at it.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Weedman's first blunt was a Phillies blunt in the Bronx, New York, when I went back to visit some friends and family. And after I graduated high school in 1990, it was the summer of 1990. Stayed up there for about 2 weeks, hung out with some old friends, and they all of a sudden we went and picked up a dime and 2 dimes actually, and then stopped at the convenience store back, and they come out, and I didn't know what it was, and they come out with these Philly cigars. I'm like, "What are we doing? Why don't you get papers?" They're like, "Oh no, this is different." I'm like, "All right." So we go to an area where you can go. I think it was like a school that was summertime, so it was closed. Like back in the Bronx, they had like PS 172. It was like a public school. 172 was the name, and they had like a big courtyard where they had basketball courts and all the kids. So we went back up by the stairs to where the entrance of the school was. And all of a sudden, I see the kid pull out his knife, and he's cutting the Philly blunt open and spreads it open, pulls all the tobacco out, and then just breaks up the weed
Tears
a
up
little
weed.
bit,
Mhm.
in his hand, basically breaking it up. We didn't have a tray or nothing, and then spreads it in the Philly blunt. He just rolled this thing so fucking perfectly and licked it up. And next thing we were smoking a Philly blunt. That was my first Philly blunt ever. 1990, July of 1990. So yeah, give it a shout out to the Bronx, New York, baby, home team for the Philly blunt. So Ms. Weedman's going to talk about marijuana blunt smoking has increased significantly in the U.S. in recent years. The study shows.
Yeah, everyone's getting their blunt
Yep.
on. The number of Americans who have ever smoked a marijuana blunt has risen by more than a fifth over a recent 8-year period, a new study shows. Examining data from the federally funded National Survey of Drug Use and Health, researchers found that blunt smoking increased substantially from 2015 to 2022, with the largest growth coming from women. Older people, and those who do not drink alcohol. Much of the increase in blunt smoking was observed among groups with historically lower use rates. The paper, which was published by the journal Addictive Behaviors, says. Overall, the number of people who have ever smoked a cannabis blunt rose 21.7% in the U.S. from 2015 to 2022, according to research. Use within the past 30 days increased 34.4%, and the prevalence of daily blunt smoking among current marijuana consumers increased by 24.5%. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why. The researchers from the University of Texas, Brown University, University of California, Los Angeles, and University of Cincinnati said the rise in blunt smoking, is consistent with prior research showing an increase in cannabis use in national samples. They cautioned, however, that the inclusion of tobacco cigar wrapper poses unique and elevated risks relative to other modalities of cannabis use. The data involved survey responses from 326,087 adults. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot.
As well as a subsample of 22,294 current blunt smokers to examine daily blunt smoking. Lifetime blunt smoking increased significantly more among white and Hispanic adult consumers relative to Black adult consumers. Similar increases were observed among those older than 18 to 25 years, the researchers wrote. Current blunt smoking increased significantly among females, with almost 64% increase relative to males, with a 19% increase. And among those who did not use alcohol, a 92% increase relative to those who did use alcohol, at just a 23% increase. So non-alcohol users increased 92%, and alcohol users increased 23%. Meanwhile, a recent survey found that a majority of Americans believe marijuana represents a healthier option than alcohol, and most also expect cannabis to be legal in all 50 states within the next 5 years. Last month, another poll showed that a majority of Americans don't consider marijuana dangerous, though most do think consuming cannabis increases the likelihood that people will transition to using more dangerous drugs. A survey from the Coalition for Cannabis Policy, Education, and Regulation, the acronym is CPAIR, which was conducted by the firm Forbes Tate Partners, showed that 7 in 10 American voters wants to see the end of federal marijuana prohibition. What would that be? 70%? I would say that's majority.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier this year, meanwhile, a firm associated with President Donald Trump, Fabrizio Lee and Associates, also polled Americans on a series of broader marijuana policy issues. Notably, it found that a majority of Republicans back cannabis rescheduling. And they're even more supportive of allowing states to legalize marijuana without federal interference compared to the average voter. So that's some promise.
Promise. I like a
Mhm.
good blunt.
Yeah.
My favorite rap was Grape White Owl.
I just always remember people having Swisher Sweets.
Yeah, that was a big thing too.
Yeah, they were easy to get. They were everywhere.
After Phillies, Swisher Sweets was the next thing
Mhm.
in Florida,
Yeah.
Midwest, but Phillies was always the Bronx, New York special. Want to light that up?
I will.
When I'm reading some little bit of political, state, and business news,
Sure.
Joliet is getting their 3rd dispensary on West Jefferson Street. Bezalina is taking over.
Oh, the lighter has died.
Oh, wow. That's a first. We've had that lighter forever. Taking over the old Napa Auto Parts building and wants 2 big wall signs plus a 17-foot pole sign to guide their cruising by. City says it fits the area vibe and approval's likely. Shop plans to serve 300 to 700 folks daily. Joliet's about to smell a lot greener. There's 2 other dispensaries out there too, so there'll be 3 out there now in Joliet. From the streets of Humboldt Park, in Chi-Town, the Hood's getting its first legal cannabis dispensary thanks to Life Cannabis Dispensary stepping into the long vacant storefront. Jobs, fresh vibes, a new chapter for the block. Big win for the community. Roll one and celebrate safe access. More and more dispensaries are opening up here, and there's more. This is just 2 I'm mentioning, but there's like 10 more opening up probably from now until like January.
That called Humboldt Park the Hood.
Yeah.
Our daughter lives in the Hood.
I know our daughter lives in the Hood. But I don't think they mean it like a hood.
I know.
They like just hey, I'm going to the Hood,
The neighborhood.
Yeah, the neighborhood. There you go. So, Tom Tillis, North Carolina, just said prohibition's been defeated. Now Congress needs to build a federal regulatory framework for cannabis. Treat it like booze or tobacco. Let state opt in, slap a federal excise tax on it, and let's roll one up. Smoke break. Thank you. The latest article from the Fresh Toast says, we're witnessing the mashup of tech and Bush. AI is now tagging along with cannabis wellness to serve up personalized, data-driven health experiences. It's helping growers dial in terpenes, helping apps recommend strains for your mood, and turning weed for chill into weed for clarity. The future just got lit and smart. We've been talking about that for a while, haven't we, Ms. Weedman?
Mm-hmm.
Gavin Newsom just vetoed a California bill that would have let certain cannabis microbusinesses ship medical marijuana directly to patients, calling it burdensome and overly complex. No, it's not. Governor Newsom, it is not. Even though it's passed unanimously, the access goal was real. Rural patients, mobility issues, you know the drill. But for now, no doorstep delivery. Stay tuned. When I was in California, I went to an app and ordered weed, and it was delivered right to the bar I was at.
Mm-hmm.
So, Governor Newsom, get with the times, my man. All right, folks, fresh scoop. This is now rebuttal from when I talked about a couple weeks ago, former Vice President Kamala Harris talked about the Joe Rogan show in her book. Now, Joe Rogan is clapping back hard on former VP Kamala Harris, claims that he lied when he said she refused to talk about cannabis on his show. Harris says her team did suggest weed as a topic. Rogan says nope. They wanted a short segment. Elsewhere, not a full sit-down debate. Stays lit. I think they should make up, and I believe that former Vice President Kamala Harris should go on a show and do the show like he normally does, like he gives everybody a shot to talk, whether you make it an hour or whether you make it 3 hours. Just go on the show. It will help. And make up and become friends. Quick update from the Great Lakes. Michigan lawmakers are looking to freeze new licenses for most cannabis businesses, citing oversupply and rock bottom prices. The proposed bills would halt new grow, transport, retail, and lab licenses, with some municipalities capped at one dispensary per 10,000 residents. Existing shops saying, but newbies locked out. Stay tuned for how this reshapes the industry. Okay, gang. In the land of lobsters and lighthouses, Maine's legal cannabis scene is cruising but hitting bumps. Sales are soaring, but only about a quarter of towns have opted in for adult use shops. And rural regions say growth is slower, go thanks to the spotty rules. Regulation and consistency is real, folks. The green wave here, but it's not the same everywhere. Heads up for Minnesota, new rules mean low potency THC businesses can't ship products directly to residents in state, while out of state players may still send flower their way. Local head shops are not too happy. They say this puts homegrown game at a serious disadvantage. The plot thickens. Heads up, even though green laws are spreading, the fight ain't over. In 2024, over 20% of all U.S. drug arrests were for cannabis possessions, 187,792 cases. Personal use, not big-time dealers. That's wild. Legalization mostly for the few, arrests still for the many. Progress? Yes. Justice? Not yet. Stay woke, folks. Hey, Smoke Circle, quick heads up with the truth bomb. The Last Prisoner Project is handing out grants to folks locked up for cannabis convictions and their families. While the legal weed world rakes in billions, many are still paying the price. This isn't just reform, it's overdue justice. In Oklahoma, the group Oklahomans for Responsible Cannabis Action, ORCA, is pushing hard to put adult use weed on the 2026 ballot via State Questions 837. They've launched petition efforts, need 173,000 signatures to allow adults 21 plus to purchase up to 8 ounces, grow 12 plants. Lawmakers just tighten initiative rules, but the campaign's still in full grind mode. The Marijuana Policy Project just sent a major open letter to the industry saying, we're on the same team with a growing neo-prohibitionist movement, trying to roll back gains. The message is loud and clear. Advocacy plus industry got to link arms if we want lasting success. There ain't no solo wins in cannabis here, folks. Sorry to break your bubble. It's a community, team effort. You know, it's got to do. We all got to come together. Come together right now.
More political, state, and business news with Mrs. Weedman. Bernie Sanders cracked a joke at a nationally televised town hall saying anyone expecting Republicans to start negotiating is smoking what is illegal in many states. Funny Bernie. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez chimed in. Cannabis should be legal in more states. Well, that's politics meeting the puff pass vibes. Heads up from Wisconsin, the state Senate's Health Committee just scheduled a hearing for this week on a new GOP-led bill aiming to legalize medical cannabis. Mary Felskowski and Patrick Teston introduced the proposal, which covers serious conditions and allows oils, edibles, topicals, but no smoking. Big move in a state that's been slow to greenlight reform. A new poll says 72% of American voters want to keep hemp legal, with smart rules attached. They're down for age restrictions, child-proof packaging, and clear labels. Even Republicans led with 77% support. Consensus across the aisle? Folks, well, the movement's not just about the herb. It really is about good framework. So, in Ohio, the Senate just gave a unanimous thumbs up to SB 55, a bill that says you can't be convicted for driving high just because old marijuana metabolites show up in your system. Instead, they're focusing on real impairment like active THC and actual driving behavior. I feel like that's fairness in motion, folks. Big politics in the green world. Bipartisan senators say they're fired up about this Safe Banking Act for cannabis, but they disagree on whether Donald Trump's move to reschedule weed would turbocharge a win. Some say yes, it's the domino. Others say it won't move the needle. So the debate is lit. In New Mexico, cannabis exec Duke Rodriguez of Ultra Health Cannabis just sued the governor, asking the Mexico Supreme Court to overturn recent line item vetoes, arguing they distort legislative intent and mess with the separation of powers. Politics and green business just collided. In Florida, the reform crew, Smart and Safe Florida, is suing the state over a directive that could nix up to 200,000 legalization petition signatures. Smart and Safe Florida is who we ran into in St. Augustine.
Yes.
And they were working really hard to get signatures. And so
Yes. I even have more
I
to
hope
go
they
on
win.
this.
I hope they win
I have
this.
more to go talk about
Okay.
this in a minute.
Okay. Just months before the February 1, 2026 deadline, they say Ron DeSantis' team is moving the goalposts after the game's nearly over. In Nebraska, a hearing got lit as 32 testifiers slammed the proposed medical cannabis rules from the governor-appointed panel, saying they're way too restrictive and ignore what 71% of voters actually approved.
Yep.
Limits on THC, ban on smoking and vaping flower. Folks say that's not medicine, it's bureaucracy.
Yep.
The Supreme Court of the United States, I'm like slurring.
Ooh.
The Supreme Court of the United States just said it'll review whether people who regularly use cannabis can legally own guns under federal law. The law being challenged bans firearms for anyone using any illegal drug. With weed legal in many states, this case could shake up both the rights to herb and to firearms. So buckle up. I think that's going to be a bumpy ride.
It's kind of crazy because it's in our Second Amendment right, the right to bear arms.
Right.
It doesn't say right to bear arms
Only if you don't use drugs.
or alcohol
or
or
right?
tobacco
Yeah.
or opioids.
Medications. Yeah.
I don't. It's
There's many forms of intoxication.
yes.
In Massachusetts, the head of the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission warns that proposed ballot initiatives to recriminalize adult use sales could jack up tax money feeding drug treatment programs. The message: go back to square one and you might lose the funding that supports recovery and public health. Those are big things to risk. And that's it for my political news segment, Mr. Weedman. It's back to you.
Thank you. Hold the bong. Donald Trump might reschedule cannabis this month, so they're saying. Insiders say he's eyeing a move to shift weed to Schedule 3. The White House hints it's good politics, and the green world's buzzing like it's 420 all over again. Not legalization yet, but the vibe's getting lit. We'll see. I've been reading a lot about this, and I'm still... What do we got, like 10 days left in the month? We'll see.
Mhm.
The scoop on workforce solutions in the green game, according to Cannabis Business Times, licensed cultivators and dispensaries are winning big by linking up with education programs that train folks in compliance, safety, and plant science. These alliances bring pre-qualified talent straight to your door, slash on the job mistakes, and speed up operations. Smart move? You betcha. Plug into these training pipelines, and your team game just went from what do we do now to we ready to roll. Over in the Ocean City, Maryland, the Ocean City Police Department got swamped with folks volunteering to smoke their own cannabis and participate in a DUI training exercise. Free lunch included. Turns out 12 to 14 spots were up for grabs, and the sign-up exploded fast. The goal? Train officers to spot real cannabis impairment in safe, supervised setup. Over in Connecticut, literal 100,000 residents are getting a clean slate upgrade as low-level marijuana convictions get expunged thanks to the new reforms. It's about second chances, folks. Wipe the past, move forward, let life breathe a little bit easier. Slated to hit the milestone and counting. Peace of mind, achieved. So here's the thing. Even when voters say yes to new cannabis laws, like in Ohio or Nebraska, legislators sometimes hit the brakes. Redraw the map, chop home grow rights, or throttle access. The article asks, do public votes about cannabis even matter right now? When elected officials override the will of the people, the ballot box starts feeling more like background noise. Stay sharp out there. Let's hold these politicians accountable. We put them in, we can take them out. In Hawaii, the debate over recreational cannabis isn't just about locals. It's got a global angle. Japanese visitors who often view cannabis the same as meth or heroin could be spooked if laws change. Officials fear tourism could dip. Meanwhile, local business eyes it as a boost. It's legal reform meets paradise tourism, a delicate balance. Big moves in Ohio. Lawmakers are revamping the voter-approved weed law and dropping heavy new restrictions on hemp products. Bill would limit access to high THC drinks, ban most hemp items in gas stations, which we just talked about, and rewrite protections for consumers. It's reform day for the green world, but some say it's reversal in time. In Jersey, lawmakers just dropped Bill S3 139 to give cannabis industry workers full union rights, bargain perks and protections from shady employer moves. Think cultivators, dispensary staff, manufacturers, all covered. Employers booting organizers? Nah. The State Board of Medication gets muscle. Daily fines up to $5,000 for bad actors. Trade meets the green industry. Justice in the job zone. In Minnesota, the smoke's finally clearing for the Twin Cities crowd. The first non-tribal owned recreational dispensaries are now open, legit and ready to serve. After a long wait, the green game's expanding beyond tribal land. It's about time. The shelves may still be a little light, but the doors are officially unlocked. Stay tuned. Minnesota's adult use market just hit a milestone. But wait, there's more. In Minnesota, dispensaries are open for adult use, but shelves are looking very sparse with just 2 licensed cultivators. Did you hear me, folks?
Sure.
With just 2 licensed cultivators, maybe the home growers that can grow up to 5 pounds, the state should allow them to sell right now because they've been growing since 2023 and they probably have an abundance of flower that they could sell you. Things that make you go, Let them get a license, charge them a couple grand, and let them sell to the dispensaries. I'm telling you, probably better weed anyway. Oops, did I say that out loud? With just 2 licensed cultivators and 1,400 businesses still waiting for approval. 1,400. Stores are facing serious supply chain hiccups. One hour said he experienced 80 customers a day, but it's getting just a handful because of not having enough. The rollout live, but the grid's still buffering. Listen, Minnesota, you've been working on this since 2023. You should have let the cultivators have their buildings ready to go 6, 7, 8 months ago. It backfired. Also in Minnesota, though, Governor Tim Walz just signed another tribal cultivation dispensary. So that's pretty cool. New York's pumping $5 million of legal cannabis dollars into, this is super cool. This makes me happy. 50 youth-focused nonprofits across the state tackling mental health support, workforce development, and housing for folks up to the age of 24, funded by the boom in the adult use market. This reinvestment signals a shift from just selling weed to giving back. Legalization isn't just about profit anymore. It's about what it should always be about, community. In Florida, a month-long hearing kicked off as rejected companies fight over coveted medical marijuana licenses. 22 awards announced, dozens left out. Big drama, scores range wildly, one challenger missed by just a point. The state's doing a deep dive into whether evaluations were fair or flawed. Big stakes, big business, big green tent. Also, those 22 that got awarded, if you don't have your own cultivation, where are you going to get your weed from? Because you can't buy from anybody but your own cultivation. Stupid ass laws. Unless it's changed, but I haven't heard anything that's changed in everything I've been reading. So if you own cultivation, you can only sell to your 100 dispensaries, 50 dispensaries that you own, and the brands that work in your building. And those brands cannot sell to other dispensaries. They can only sell to the dispensaries that were owned by that cultivator. Isn't that fucked up?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a bunch of licenses. We actually know some folks here from Illinois that got a license, but they can't do nothing with it because they can't buy weed. Stupidest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Also in Florida, the campaign Smart and Safe Florida are suing the state. We just talked about this. After officials allegedly directed the invalidation of up to 200,000 signatures for the 2026 weed legalization ballot initiative. The board says petitions lack full text for voters. Campaign says that rule doesn't exist. They're calling it a mid-game rule change. Let the battle begin with these high stakes that's going on. Smart and Safe Florida, they are doing whatever they can to stop you from moving this initiative on the ballot. They are doing whatever. So if you're in Florida right now and you're listening, you need to get a part of Smart and Safe Florida. They need 200,000 signatures here pretty quickly, so it goes on the 2026 ballot. Florida, if you want this going on the ballot again, and you need what, 60, what do they need, 50, 60%, 60 votes, 60% of the votes,
61%.
61% or some shit, some stupid thing. I'm telling you right now, talk to those, what was it, Cody and Colby out of St. Augustine.
Their names?
Hell yeah, they were good dudes.
Wow.
They're
I know,
fucking
they were
fighting the good fight.
I don't have a memory like that.
Fighting the good fight. Of course I'm going to remember them. Find your Smart and Safe Florida folks out there. Go sign up. 200,000 signatures to get on this. We need to reestablish these 200,000 signatures if this legal battle is all screwed up. Fight the good fight, folks of Florida. Pass it this time. Right? This is a heavy hitter. This was a blog that I read, and it's an open letter to the industry. Advocacy, cannabis industry. This was, what'd you think, Mrs. Weedman, before you read it?
It's great.
It's really nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an open letter to the industry.
This is written by Adam Smith, the executive director of Marijuana Policy Project. So did you want to say anything else before I get started?
Get started.
Okay. Dear friends and colleagues in the industry, it's rare to see an industry born from a movement. Many industries know that there are policies that they want changed that they cannot credibly address, so they create advocacy organizations and pour millions of dollars into them to prop them up and give the appearance of grassroots support. It's called astroturfing. AstroTurf is fake. It's fake grass. But while it may look like grass, it's inorganic, it doesn't grow, it nourishes nothing, and it is made of forever plastics and noxious chemicals. Cannabis advocacy is not astroturf. It wasn't created by an industry. In fact, it's just the opposite. Cannabis policy reform is a movement. And like every fight for justice, ours was born out of suffering. The suffering of people whose liberty, children, homes, education, or lives were stolen from them in the name of the war on drugs. The suffering of those desperate for medicine for themselves or to help a loved one to eat, ease pain, or calm seizures, it rose against a drug war machine that has fueled government overreach, mass incarceration, discrimination, and inequity for nearly a century, all based on lies told about a plant. Over time, the movement's integrity and moral urgency drew the attention of philanthropic founders who recognized cannabis reform as a civil rights, healthcare, and justice issue. Their support built the infrastructure that powered legalization, funded litigation, and sustained advocacy during the years before there was an industry to help. Unlike AstroTurf campaigns, movements draw power from their independence and integrity. They serve people, not profit. As the legal cannabis industry emerged, our movement's goals grew to include the right to safe and reasonable access, which requires an economically stable industry that is rationally regulated, reasonably taxed, and operating in a normal legal and commercial environment. But the work of our movement is not done. Prohibition still lingers, and with it, suffering, injustice, and inequity. Now, the industry that our movement birthed is in peril, and we know that if the industry fails, we fail together. In short, we need each other. Over the last decade, many of cannabis reform's philanthropic funders have moved on, and the industry has struggled. As a result, the independent advocacy groups that powered reform already reduced and are in danger of closing their doors or shrinking to the point of irrelevance. That would be a devastating blow to the industry's goal of a stable, normalized commercial environment and to the progress that we've all made together. A strong industry creates jobs, generates tax revenues, and revitalizes local economies. These arguments were and still are powerful incentives for reform, but they cannot finish the job of ending prohibition. They don't speak to the deeper issues that first brought this movement together, nor can they speak with authority to address the concerns, including public health and safety, that many lawmakers and their constituents have about cannabis. Today, a resurgent and well funded neo prohibitionist movement seeks to weaponize those very issues against us. Right now, smart approaches to marijuana, Project SAM,
They're not your friend.
and their allies are backing legislation and soon ballot initiatives to roll back our progress state by state.
Look at Massachusetts.
And there is a reason they've made big marijuana, meaning the entire cannabis industry, their straw man enemy. Sam and their allies spread disinformation disguised as concern for public health, safety, and protecting children because they know that fear moves policymakers and voters faster than facts. They also know that the normal incentives of an industry, reducing costs and maximizing profits, can undercut an industry's credibility with lawmakers and the public on these threshold issues. Their strategy is to force legislators into a false choice between your profit motives and their claim to the mantle of public health. They want you isolated in that fight. Rooted in integrity and good public policy rather than profit, we are the most effective counter to the neo-prohibitionists now reemerging in the halls of Congress and state legislators, in the media, and within federal agencies. As independent advocates, we speak to the whole issue: criminal justice, civil rights, medical access, public health, and commercialization. We have spent decades building coalitions of healthcare professionals, clergy, law enforcement, civil rights organizations, and community leaders. We bring those credible voices to hearings, to the media, and into the rooms where decisions are made. We have written laws, run campaigns, and helped shape every major victory this movement has achieved. But independent advocacy requires resources, and resources have been scarce. At the Marijuana Policy Project, we have led the fight to secure 29 medical and adult use laws, both through legislatures and ballot initiatives. We have helped ensure good faith implementation of those laws and defended them when opponents have tried to roll them back. Right now, we are laying the groundwork for legalization in Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, and Louisiana, and we have a list of priorities that overlap with the industries across multiple legal and medical states. Our team has deep relationships across legislatures, communities, and civil society, and unmatched experience in getting cannabis policy across the finish line. Karen O'Keefe, who has led MPP's legislative and policy team for more than 20 years, believes adult use legalization might have already passed in both New Hampshire and Hawaii if our campaigns had been there adequately funded. Those are opportunities we cannot afford to waste. NORML, the other major institutional pillar of cannabis advocacy, has fought for the rights of cannabis consumers for more than 50 years. I don't work for them, nor do I speak for them. But from my perspective, it's clear that NORML's potential is underutilized. They have the most recognized brand in cannabis and supporters in nearly every state. Deputy Director Paul Armentano alone places dozens of op-eds and commentaries in major outlets each year and appears regularly on national platforms as one of the nation's most informed voices on the issue. Despite serious funding challenges, this year NORML led the coalition that defeated California's proposed cannabis tax hike and mobilized 17,000 legislative contacts on a single bill in Ohio to successfully block an effort to recriminalize much of what voters had decriminalized at the ballot box. And that is impact.
Go normal.
Cannabis advocacy organizations do not work for the industry, and it's true that we will not always align or collaborate on every issue. But our independence is a feature, not a bug. It's what gives us credibility and increases our power over time. Anyone who wants to see sensible and lasting normalization in cannabis needs that independent power working at full strength. I write today with real urgency to suggest that it's time for a deeper, coordinated conversation between the leaders of industry at every level and the institutions of independent advocacy about how we move forward together. That means renewed financial support, yes, but it also means better strategic alignment across our common goals and shared purposes as we confront our common challenges. Neither industry nor advocacy will succeed alone. If you are the CEO of cannabis policy, directing every player in the space and tasked with increasing shareholder value by securing permanent commercial normalization, and times were tough, would you cut the most effective team, the one that has delivered or significantly contributed to virtually every policy victory you've ever had, to save a small fraction of your budget? Of course not. But that's what's happening. Not by malice, nor by choice, but by drift. And maybe you didn't even realize it was happening. So it wasn't your responsibility to step up. But guess what? Now you know. So now it is.
Great, just blog, letter, whatever you want to call this. Adam J. Smith, Executive Director of Marijuana Policy Project. I got the chills.
Ooh.
The second time when I read it, and then when you read it, I always get the
Mm-hmm.
chills when you read stuff, though, Mrs. Weedman.
Oh.
From the
Super
back of my
exciting.
neck all the way to my hairy butt crack.
Even if I read
The
like
hand
the
stands
ingredients
up,
on the back of like
all
a
of it. You just
box
have
of cereal.
Yes.
Yes. It's pretty funny. Do I have to read it a certain way?
Just read.
Mr. Weedman,
Oh,
do you want some cereal?
yes. You got to read the box first, though.
I'll read the box.
International news. Anas Sawar, leader of the Scottish Labour Party, says he does not support decriminalizing personal drug use, including cannabis, because he believes communities don't want to see us making it easier for people to get drugs. Well, he's okay with diverting low-level cannabis cases into treatment instead of prison. But flat-out decriminalization, not his vibe. In South Africa, Nelson Mandela Bay, agriculture and automotive are linking up through an innovative industrial hemp value chain proposal. Think farmers growing hemp that gets turned into auto parts like roof liners and insulation. This green gold idea could power rural jobs, sustainable manufacturing, and export growth. The crop's hardy, high-yielding, and ready to roll. From field to factory floor, buckle up. It's hemp time. Wild claim alert. Oh, huh?
You got really nasal. Wild claim alert.
Wild claim alert. But home team Nigerian Senator Orji Uzor Kalu says some pilots in Nigeria are smoking Indian hemp right before flights.
Ooh.
He says the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority isn't doing on-the-spot drug or health checks on these flyers, and he's had a stop flying himself because of inadequate pilot prep. Aviation safety meets surprise buzz. Buckle up.
Oh, like the pilots are high?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not great.
But I will have to give you a shout out to Nigeria because we have a lot of listeners in Nigeria.
Just tell your pilots not to smoke weed.
I appreciate you. I do. For
We
all
do.
you listeners out there in Nigeria and Africa, I love you all out there. Thank you for making me feel at home out there and listening to the Weed Man. Down under in Australia, the Australian Medical Association just threw their 2 cents into the ring with submission to the Therapeutic Good Administrative TGA review of unapproved medical cannabis products. They're calling for tighter controls, freeze high THC concentrates, better labeling, stricter dispensing rules, and safeguards for vulnerable folks. Medicine meets the green wave. Safety first, sesh second. Big news from Canada. Google is rolling out a limited 20-week pilot letting federally licensed cannabis operators place ads on Google search starting August 25th. It did only legal Canadian operators get in, and users can opt out on seeing them. This can mark the first step toward mainstream weed advertising if it passes the vibe check. Kenya, home team again. We have a big following in Kenya. From like the beginning, remember? Like when we started this show, all of a sudden I was like had like 100 listeners in Kenya. I'm like, you were like, who the fuck do you know in Kenya? I'm like, they love the
like,
Weed
how
Man.
do they find us?
I don't know, but I appreciate you, Kenya. So cannabis isn't just a leaf. It's a soundtrack and a canvas. The scene's buzzing from reggae spike music and Afro fusion beats to street art and tattoo mural culture herb is influencing the rhythm and the palette of youth culture. Despite laws still saying no to the plant, creativity saying yes, culture, music, and art, elements of the green wave growing strong. Home team, Kenya, love you. Thank you for listening out there. In Portugal, The supermarket aisle just got wild. A tissue box branded marijuana flower with full cannabis leaf is hitting the shelves. Scented tissue.
Hey,
No THC included.
I
They
like that.
smell slightly floral, slightly spicy, but don't get it twisted. They're not for sparking up. They're just tissue rocking a green wave of normalization. Fold one out, wipe your nose, and stay low key lit. Now make it with hemp. Make hemp tissue along with
Yeah.
the smell. You're vibing me all day long with that. In Canada, Nate Erkenstein Smith says the sky didn't fall after legalization. It's been a win for jobs, for the economy. Hello, 13 billion GDP, and for everyday folks. But he's real. The rules could use an upgrade, smarter tax, tighter advertising, stronger health guards. It's legalization leveled up. In Ontario, the calls loud and clear. The province must crack down on illegal cannabis shops that are operating outside the regulated zone and undercutting the legal market. Licensed retailers are fed up paying taxes and fees while illicit dispensaries profit. The fix: stronger enforcement, clearer rules, and fair play for the legit game. In the U.S. Virgin Islands, the cannabis licensing doors just swung open. Application window for cultivation, micro-cultivation, manufacturing, and dispensary licenses are live, with caps per island and a merit-based scoring system in place. If you've been eyeing the green game in paradise, time to roll up your business plans because the competition's heating up. You want to move to the Virgin Islands, Miss Weedman?
I'd be open to
I
it.
want to open up a dispensary in the Virgin Islands. I would love to live in the Virgin Islands.
Sure.
It is Halloween, like we said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's embrace the spooky spirit, right, Miss Weedman?
It's Halloween season.
Yes.
Yep.
How to have a cannabis-infused Halloween. Tell us about it, Ms. Weedman.
Yes, the intersection of tradition and toke. Halloween, also known as All Hallows Eve, is a night steeped in tradition, mystery, and a little bit of magic. As the autumn winds blow and the nights grow longer, many seek ways to enhance the eerie ambiance that this ancient holiday brings. Enter cannabis, a plant that, much like Halloween, has a rich history mixed with ritual and celebration. This year, why not combine the two and let cannabis be your guide to a spooktacular night? Halloween has its roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, a time when people believed that the barrier between our world and the spirit world was at its weakest. The Celts would light bonfires and don costumes to ward off roaming ghosts. Herbs and plants believed to hold protective properties were often used in these rituals. Cannabis, though not specifically recorded in these ancient practices, shares a similarly storied history of ritualistic use in various cultures around the world. From the shamanic traditions of Central Asia to the spiritual ceremonies of ancient India, cannabis has been used to enhance connections with the spiritual realm. Imagine how these two ancient traditions could blend in today's modern world, perhaps an offering to the spirits or simply a way to get into the mystical mood of Halloween. No Halloween is complete without an array of treats, and for cannabis enthusiasts, infused goodies can add a delightful twist to the festivities. Whether you're hosting a spooky gathering or just enjoying a night in, these infused treats will elevate your Halloween experience. Witch's Fingers Cookies. These eerie finger-shaped cookies are as creepy as they are delicious, made with an infused dough and topped with almond fingernails. They're the perfect combination of fun and fright for your Halloween spread.
We'll post this article too for all
Yes,
the
with all,
recipes.
with the recipes. And the recipes have photos, so the link will be, in the post. Try some pumpkin spice brownies. Capture the cozy flavors of fall with these rich and indulgent brownies, infused with cannabis oil or butter. The mix of pumpkin spice and chocolate creates a treat that's both comforting and festive, making them a crowd favorite at any Halloween event. Gummy eyeballs. For a truly eerie and fun snack, whip up a batch of infused gummy eyeballs. These creepy gummies are not only a blast to make, but they're also going to add a spooky touch to your party table. Perfect for snacking during a scary movie marathon or as a fun party favor. Each of these recipes is simple to make and sure to impress your guests. Whether you're looking to set the tone for a Halloween gathering or just enjoy a haunted night in, these infused treats will add a special magic to your Halloween celebrations. Cannabis can also set the tone for your Halloween night, whether you're aiming for a spooky or just cozy and relaxed feel. Here are a few strains that can enhance your All Hallows Eve experience. Ghost Train Haze. It's a sativa. With a name like Ghost Train Haze, it's no wonder this strain makes the list. Known for its potent effects and psychedelic tendencies, this strain is perfect for those looking to add a little thrill to their night. Whether you're watching horror movies or exploring a haunted house, Ghost Train Haze will keep you on the edge of your seat. Frankenstein is an indica strain, a heavy indica strain, and it's ideal for winding down after the Halloween excitement. Known for its deeply relaxing effects, Frankenstein is perfect for sinking into the couch with a bowl of candy and a marathon of classic horror films. Just like its namesake, it might leave you feeling a bit monstrous in a good way. Zombie OG Hybrid. It is a strain that lives up to its name, offering, well, I don't know if I want that. I'll bite you. Offering a strong body high that's perfect for those who want to feel like they're risen from the dead. Great for relaxing with friends around a fire pit or telling ghost stories. This hybrid will keep you in the spooky spirit all night long.
I have our strain.
What?
Devil Driver will be smoking on Halloween.
Right.
That's our Halloween spooky strain. Devil Driver, grown by Big Girl.
And if you're planning a Halloween gathering, try incorporating cannabis into your haunted house setup. It can take a little experience to the next level. Here are some ideas to get started. Some cannabis-infused cocktails. Set up a bar with a selection of cannabis-infused drinks. Consider spooky-themed concoctions like Witch's Brew Punch or Bloody Mary Jane or Green Fairy Mojito, all using activated THC powder for that extra kick. Be sure to offer non-infused versions as well for guests who prefer to abstain. A smoke-friendly zone. Create an outdoor lounge area where guests can enjoy a joint or vape. Decorate the space with eerie lighting, carved pumpkins, and perhaps even some animatronic surprises. A fog machine could add an extra layer of mystique. Scare and share. After everyone's sufficiently spooked, gather your guests for a scare and share session. Light up a joint or pass around a vape pen and take turns telling ghost stories. The combination of cannabis and the eerie atmosphere will make for an unforgettable night. Of course, there are a few do's and don'ts for every Halloween cannabis consumption party, so consider these. Do clearly label all infused products, especially if you're hosting the party. Make sure guests know what they're consuming and offer non-infused alternatives. Don't mix too many substances. If you're enjoying cannabis, consider limiting or avoiding alcohol to prevent unwanted effects. Do start low and go slow, especially with edibles. The effects can take time to kick in, and you don't want to end up feeling too spooked. Don't drive under the influence. If you or your guests have consumed cannabis, make sure everyone has a safe way to get home, whether it's a designated driver, a rideshare service, or spending the night. And as we said, recipes will be in the link.
Yeah. Some sad news. Attention, all you stoners out there. Cannabis Corpse, not to be confused with the band Cannibal Corpse, but this band, heavy metal band, Cannabis Corpse, have called it quits. Heads up, the death metal band Cannabis Corpse has officially called it quits after almost 20 years of weed-themed riffs and punny album titles like Blended at Birth. The Hall brothers shut the banging door on 2025 and wrote, "Thanks to you who came out and supported us from 2006 to 2025. Rockers, tokers, you're going to be missed. Stay heavy, stay lifted." They're heavy, heavy metal. I've heard of them before. I really didn't listen to music. I'm not into. I love heavy metal, but this is like the
like death metal.
It's great. I just not,
like,
I don't listen to that all the time. But a couple of their songs, the 420 song that they have is pretty good too. So, but Cannabis Corpse, not to be confused with Cannibal Corpse. Good luck on your next weed journey. Mrs Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
That's the end of this show. Got anything else to say?
Well, I just came across a recipe for crispy butternut squash bites with honey, hot honey feta drizzle. So,
You know,
that might be on the menu
I
this
just
week.
made some fresh cannabis butter too, so I might have to add a little drizzle
I
in
think
that
that's
too.
going to be our Halloween treat. Everybody, have a great week.
Everybody out there in the world, we love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. I just love y'all out there. As Paulie always says, smoke smart, puff puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.